Okay, so just an update on my injunction applications, which have been 5 months in process across all four courts. But currently, they're with the Court of Appeal, and I've just spoken to the Court of Appeal, so they're going to a judge. Now, this is on the criminal claim. So I've had a criminal claim against Jacinda Ardern, the Queen, and Reddy, and subordinates. That's the head of DOC, that's the medical officers of health, that's Irma, Osprey, everyone, a criminal claim against everyone in process for 5 months, and being pushed between courts. But so the criminal and the civil claim, which started as one and was separated by the Solicitor General's brother and put back to, well, it hasn't made it back together, but it is with the same judge now. The criminal and the civil claim is with the same judge at the Court of Appeal with the injunction request. So this is a possibility to stop the Hunua Rangers drop. I haven't been speaking about it, obviously, because I profiled my last injunction at the High Court so much, and then an instant 24-hour job derailed it at the Environmental Court, arguably. So anyway, that's failed today. So I just wanted to let you know that there is a backup, which was the startup, and that's still in motion. And so we're waiting on the judge's decision. And well, there's nothing more I can say. I'm always hopeful when I get a new judge that they're going to decide to protect the population from the world's most lethal chemical weapon, monofluoroacetate, that's been put in our water. That, sure, it might dilute, you can't see it anymore, but it does two things. It restructures the entire water across our natural ecosystem that runs into our town and water supply into the frequency and enhanced version of the compound 1080. So our water is a loaded gun. It's a killer. You know, it's tragic. Our entire water right across our natural bush, our entire water right across our ecosystem in this entire country has been restructured by Ardern, the Queen and Reddy, because the Queen and Reddy have reserve powers to stop the crime. The crime has run for as long as the Queen's been in power, but Ardern's new budget, 2018, 436 million on these programs and emergency funding for the fake mycoplasma bovis disease, which is exactly the symptoms of 1080 when the cows from all of these drops start to consume the toxic water that bioaccumulates in their system over time, can't metabolize, and causes all those symptoms. Terrible, agonizing suffering. Already all of our animals across the bush have been mass tortured to death. It's so illegal, you know. Anyway, so first, what's happening to the animals when you see those videos of the animals being tortured? That happens to you in longer, slower periods of time as you bioaccumulate that toxicity in your system. And they call it the flu and pneumonia and, cancers and heart attacks and, sepsis. And you have no way to prove. You should test, if you are sick, test for higher citrate levels. That is one way that a lot of animal studies evidence higher citrate levels. But basically, once that molecule is metabolized into the fluorocitrate molecule, it's tasteless, odorless, colorless. It's a silent, deadly chemical weapon. They use it in war. They have used it in war to poison people's water. And now it's been poisoning our water all over the country. This is a war on life in New Zealand, and it's been run by Ardern. And I laughed when I heard, well, I didn't laugh. Well, I kind of laughed and cried at the same time. Well, not cried, but you know what I mean, like shocked. When I heard Ardern is giving the keynote speech next week at the Climate Week opening. I was there a couple of years ago at Climate Week, UN Climate Week, and it's just an absolute joke. She is under review by the world's highest court for systematic chemical weapons attacks against our population. Mass animal torture. No one in their right mind would mass torture animals to death all across a natural ecosystem. It absorbs into the plants and the trees and the wood. And you saw the other day I posted photos I've shared photos of Dan Leffer's posting of the bees pollinating on the blood of the toxically dead animal that is supposed to be buried 3 meters underground to keep it safe. I mean, honestly, it's just, I don't know what to say. It's just such a horrific crime. It just boggles my mind that I've been in court and done so many applications all year to stop all of these drops. And when Ardern got back from maternity leave, she really pushed hard and to keep them going. She made one drop. Then I was in court for a 3-hour hearing arguing to stop her completely, and within 2 days, without a judge's decision, saying that his decision eventually said he didn't have the power to stop a government program on the civil claim, and he wouldn't decide on the criminal claim. He sent it back to the district court. At that time, it's bounced back between courts so much, it's like a ping pong ball. But hopefully it settles in the Court of Appeal and there's a judge there who gives an order to protect his country because he believes that we shouldn't be poisoned to death right now and our agriculture system shouldn't be divested to an effective state of communism by 2030. And Ardern giving the keynote speech when she's artificially inducing climate change. Like Michelle Maloney, she's the ex-chairman of the Environmental Defenders Office in Australia. We had contact on my when they began working on my Great Barrier Reef case, which is very slow to progress because we need financing. If anyone else is out there who would like to finance the International Criminal Court legal case that I've had since 2015 to defend the Great Barrier Reef, it's pretty much the only law in the world which can, and I've got so many lawyers there ready to start working if we can just get a little bit of financing, so bear that in mind. But anyway, she said, how is what's happening inflicting climate change? If you drop tons and tons and tons of the world's most lethal chemicals right across the natural bush ecosystem, all the wildlife, and into all the water supplies that run down into all the agriculture water supplies, so it's then polluting the animals that are producing our products, so our food is contaminated, and it runs down into all our town and city water supplies. The rumatakas that have just been done, that poisoned the 3 water reservoirs of Wellington. You know, you're going to be the city of erectile dysfunction now because that's what that chemical does. It targets the reproductive systems. You know, you over time, your cells will build up toxicity and you'll start to get ovarian cancers, breast cancers, bowel cancers, prostate cancers. It's an EDC disruptor. It's an endocrine chemical. It's a disruptor. Well, it alters the mitochondria of the DNA, so it causes depression and it shifts your mind completely. It alters the chemical structure of your mind, and it completely alters the chemical structure of your body. We'll be a sterile population at the doses that this, you know. Oh, it's very hard not to say terrible words about Jacinda Ardern because what she's doing is so terrible and so criminal, you know. It's so disgusting to see her parade around and give speeches while she's killing her own population. Save some refugees while she's poisoning us to death, you know. And I still haven't found anyone in Queenstown. I emailed all the board of the Queenstown City Council saying, have you tested your snow? Because if it doesn't disintegrate, like if it disintegrates instead of melting, then it's artificially created. And this is happening all over America right now with these superstorms. The water smells like pool water, chlorinated, artificially created water in these superstorm floods like Florence. And the snow is the same. And it's climate change, artificially created, you know? And Ardern is leading the crime. She did a PR degree at Hamilton University. Sorry if you did a degree at Hamilton University, but it's not, Oxford. So sorry. And PR, hello. And now she's running an entire country when she's got the experience to run about the Girl Guides. It's because she's a PR person, and she's fronting the worst crime in the world, It's mass torturing of animals alone is just so unforgivable. But to poison the water of an entire human population, we're just going to be all dying. That's what's happening. We're going to consume that water throughout. You can't get away from it. That water's going to be in all sorts of foods. A lot of people will drink it unaware because she's giving interviews telling people it's perfectly safe. It's not. It metabolizes into the fluorocitrate molecule and that tortures your cells to death. And according to Montagnier's work, Luc Montagnier, he's the world's forerunning scientist in water. It restructures the water to an enhanced version of the chemical. It's so deadly. It's so tragic. And it's just, our beautiful country has been poisoned to death. You drop enough of that poison, you're going to have a carbon problem, all right? James Shaw's calculating his carbon tax. The IMF's planning their big loan for when our economy crashes. And we're shipping poison product off to the world. We need to own this crime now, We need to own it now. And take the crash, extend a second Reserve Bank body corporate so that we can finance locally our way through the crash and come out the other end in 7 years with a better model for the world. There's a better way to do this than let the psychopaths who have definitely infiltrated our government and state and are our crown. The psychopaths are our crown. Why do we have allegiance to them, Anyway, I know it's like fighting an impossible battle, but anyway, it's with the Court of Appeal and it's with a judge. This afternoon I have, all but begged and fought and begged and fought, and I kind of changed from begging to fighting. That an order is given tonight so that they cannot continue to poison the Hunua Rangers and poison our water supply. And, you know, when these drops happen, there's masses of miscarriages, eh? People in Lower Hutt will be having miscarriages now. Upper Hutt and Lower Hutt, because of Wellington, you know? Masses of miscarriages because of these drops. It's a sterility jug. It's depopulation. It's Agenda 21. It's the biodiversity plan. They are putting New Zealand back to a bird sanctuary. You know, these awful, evil, evil people. They have no right in leadership. They all belong in prison, you know? But we need a judge to order that, don't we? Because I'm not Queen, so I can't order off of their heads, although I really wish I could. It's my new dream.